Good morning and welcome to Emma's Crafty Space. This morning we are going to be making this beautiful little project using the new Stampin' Up mini paper pumpkin boxes. They are really cute. Although they are small, they do hold quite a lot, and I'll just give you a better view of them. Okay, so I'm still working with the Poinsettia Place Suite. It is absolutely beautiful and quite versatile. You can go more traditional using your real red, old olive, soft suede, berry vanilla, or in this case I have picked out one of the wood grain pieces of the DSP paper. So it's to me it's like crumb cake and soft suede. I've gone garden green, berry vanilla and whisper white. So this is quite neutral and kind of stripping it back to be something a bit more simplistic rather than having the real bright bold colours. So we'll make a wee start with this. So your paper pumpkin boxes come completely flat pack in a resealable bag, which is great because it means then keeps it nice and clean. So we're just going to lift one out and build one. So they look really complicated, but they're not. A bit like the mini pizza boxes, you know, they all have their own little groove to fit into. So I'm just creasing everything up. So you'll see that there's little notches here as well. So these little tabs here fit into those notches nice and neatly. It just means that whenever the box is built, it keeps it nice and sturdy and together without it all just unraveling and falling apart. Just crease up all those lines. You don't need a bone folder or anything, like your hands are okay for this. So bring up your fronts and side. Okay, so I'm just going to fold that out and kind of nest those in there. So I'll do one side at a time. So just push that down in there and lock it into those wee holes. And the same with this side. Okay, and then whenever you're closing up the box, you're going to push these flaps in like that, and then they get locked in there. And that's what keeps the box closed. So you can see, really nice size, really easy to put together. So just set that to the side and we're going to do our decoration for the front of it. So I'll just lay these out and I will give you your measurements. So this is the belly band, so it's going around the box and it measures 2 inches by 9 5/8, and then you're going to score at 1 3/4, 2 7/8, 6 3/4 and 7 7/8. Okay. Then your topper, your card base is in garden green as well. It's 5 inches by 3.5 inches. And then the DSP, it's up to you what size you use. I just wanted it more neutral, so I went for the wood grain side. It measures 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so that will be attached to that. So you can see it's just staggered down into it. And then the rectangle die, which is out of the layer and stitch rectangles, is 2 3/8 by 3 1/4. And then for the decoration, these are fussy cut out of the DSP, so it can be quite arduous, but I do think it's worth it, and it's nice just to give that a little bit extra for around the flower. And the flower is die cut out of one of the sheets in the Poinsettia Place DSP pack. Okay, and then you've got your little beaded pearl also. So we'll get going with putting the box together. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to lay your box down flat and put your belly band around it, okay, just to try and get it burning to see whereabouts you want to place it. Now I am going to put my cardstock topper down first, okay, because I want this belly band to be in between these two. It means then that it's not going to go in underneath, and you've got these ridges for whenever you're sliding it up and down the box, you know, to get the belly band off. It means it'll not catch. So if you just put that there, and because your DSP is going to go over the top of that anyway, so you'll not see those joins. Okay, so wet glue or tape or the Snail Plus is good for this. Okay, so wee bit of glue. Don't be going right to the edge of this, because obviously you have this here piece that isn't going to have any card underneath it. You don't need a lot of it. Tombow is very strong once it's all stuck, so you don't need it to be squelching out the side to get a good bond with it. Again, Just make sure the card's even so that it's not sitting crooked on it, and it means that it'll just slide up and down the case easier. Okay, and now we're going to attach our DSP. So again, not loads. Obviously with DSP, it's center of the card, and if you put too much on it, it'll just end up crinkling up and going wrinkly on you. So again, just lay that down. Okay, now when I made this little topper the first time, I actually attached the white rectangle first, but it ended up being just a bit uneven, obviously with the belly band and underneath that, so I would recommend that you stamp your greeting on it first. So I'm going to go for Warm Wishes from Our Home to Yours, because obviously these little paper pumpkin boxes are food safe. So if you were gifting food, or just being a gift, realistically I kind of associate gifts from Our Home to Yours as food. So for me, I'd be filling this with some homemade fudge or homemade cookies or shortbread or something. So I think From Our Home to Yours is perfect. So again, use your grid paper just as a little guide so you know you're getting it right. Okay, now I have stuck all my layers down flat, and the reason for that is the flower is going to be raised. You don't want it being too bulky, because it will catch then on things. So again, just set that down into the middle. Okay, and realistically finding the middle is just kind of using your initiative to know you've got roughly the same amount of space at the top as there is at the bottom. With the wet glue, then you have a bit of time just to move it into place, and left and right obviously too. So obviously this is going to be quite quick and simple for me, but as I say, in one of the sheets of the DSP there is a matching die, so this doesn't make it quite easy for just instead of having to fussy cut this one, you can just run it through your Big Shot. So I'm going to raise this up on dimensionals, and then we'll stick all the foliage in behind. Okay. Now, if you want to, you could just curl the edges of your flowers and just soften them up a bit. You could use your bone folders, but I'm happy enough the way it is. So I'm just setting that down onto the corner like that. So once you have this stuck down with your dimensionals, I am going to lift a piece of the DSP that this was actually cut out of. Now you'll see that there is some flowers that aren't full around the edges. These are ideal for this, especially if you're wanting to just recycle something out of it without actually going into a full flower. So I'm actually going to cut out one of these centers. And it just means then that you can layer that up on the one that you have stuck to the paper pumpkin box. Now, it doesn't have to be a centre that matches that flower. Reason being then that if it doesn't stick over it properly, you still have the design in underneath, and it just feels like there's more layers to the centre of the flower, so it's giving it more depth. So don't be worrying if you can't get the one that matches perfectly. You can see even from this DSP that that's where I got all my little twigs from. So it is quite time consuming, but I find fussy cutting quite therapeutic, although I have to say I was getting a bit frustrated with that. But I do think those little bit extras that you add to your projects make all the difference. So for me, it's well worth it. And sure, you could be sitting doing it while you're watching one of your favourite TV programmes or something. Last little bit. So you can see that doesn't actually match that, but if I just stick it on and just make sure these little center pieces are covered, it just looks like it's more of a 3D effect on the card. So again, I'm just going to soften these up a bit with my fingers. It's a bit too small to be working with a bone folder, and I think you'd end up tearing the paper. So another dimensional. Don't know if a big one will fit. Nope. And just tilt it until you're happy with the position. Okay, and then just to add a little bit of sparkle, we are going to use one of the Beaded Pearls from the same suite. I'm going to use a glue dot for this. Now, if you don't want to use pearl, that is absolutely fine. This means you will see the lovely yellow centerpieces of this. So again, not a lot of glue, just a little bit here and there, just so that you can secure this to the edging of your paper pumpkin box. So I'm just doing wee sporadic dots here and there. And I'm just going to lift this and tuck it down. And don't be worrying if you get a bit of glue on your white either. Sure, you can take it off with one of the glue erasers. Okay. There's one little section done, and I'm going to do one along the bottom here, just because it looks quite sparse there. Okay, but I want to try and keep those little pine cones visible, because I think they're quite cute. And that is it. Very quick and simple. Once you have everything fussy cut out, then it really is quick and simple. It's just a matter of building it up. I'll just show you how easy that just slides on and off, because there is no seams on that. So you can see it's just completely smooth in there, just because we have glued that belly band in. Obviously, whenever you are making it up, you can pull the belly band as tight as you want it. Obviously, you want it to have a bit of tension in it, so that if you are kind of stuffing it in the box a wee bit over full, that it will hold it, and it'll just not be sliding up and down. You want it to be able to stay in that center position. So that is it. Thank you so much again for joining me, and I really hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you. Goodbye.